Okay, so this week you have to do an assignment regarding reviewing the current docket of the Supreme Court, and then you need to select a case that deals with an issue of civil liberties or civil rights. And then you have to draft a majority opinion for that case, making sure you reference related cases mentioned in our textbook. So I just want to guide you through this so you know where to look on their website for cases that are on the current docket for the United States Supreme Court. So when you go to their website, this is their website, Supreme Court of the United States. Here's a link in case you need it, but there's a link right there. And so to find the cases that are currently on the docket, if you go into the upper right-hand corner, you can click docket, okay? And then you can search by text. So I'm going to put in civil liberties. And so we're going to enter civil liberties and it's going to search. And so here are the cases on the docket that should fit the criteria for civil liberties. And so remember, this assignment, you're going to be looking for cases involving civil rights or civil liberties. Civil liberties has to do with things such as First Amendment freedoms, government religion, freedom of expression, and so forth, privacy rights, due process issues, and rights of the accused. And civil rights issues involve things such as equal rights, racial equality, other equal rights issues, voting rights, freedom from discrimination, affirmative action, those type of things. All right. So you're gonna have to do some research on your own here as you click through different types of cases to determine which of these fit our criteria. So let's take a look at this case here, docket number 14-940. And so if I click open that docket, it really doesn't tell me too much other than it tells me the history of where this case has been and the different things that have happened along the way with this case before it actually got to the United States Supreme Court. So the easiest thing to do here is it says questions presented. In other words, this is going to be the legal issue ultimately that the court has to decide after they hear arguments. So if you click on questions presented, this is what the issue is. So in this particular case, it has to do with the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment and voting rights, one person, one vote principle. So this would fit our criteria because this has to do with voting rights. So this would be a good case to do. And so ultimately what you have to do is write a 300 to 500 words majority opinion as to how you think, if you were writing this opinion for the majority, how would you rule? What actions and cases would you bring into play to illustrate your decision? Because part of this assignment is that you need to reference related cases mentioned in your textbook, all right? So in this particular case, they already discussed Reynolds versus Sims, which is a 1964 Supreme Court decision dealing with this issue. So ultimately, though, you may have to do some research on your own to delve more into this case because it's not going to be encapsulated in what we have here because this is merely going to be a history of the case, where it's been. So you may have to do some research on your own. But I just wanted you to make sure you understood how you go about finding these type of cases in the United States Supreme Court docket. So again, you go up here to docket, and in this case, we did civil liberties. I'll do it again. And then you push search. And let me go back here. There we go. And there we are. We're back here to where we were. Okay. So you can take a look at these other cases. I'm not familiar with some of these other cases. So if I click on this one, docket 14-8180, this is another case that you can take a look at. This one has been rather short-lived. They don't present the legal issue here on this case. So you might want to look for another one that gives you a little bit more information. Again, you may have to do some research on your own on some of these cases. So if you take a look at Mr. Hurst, now Mr. Hurst I know fits the case because it has to do with punishment, 8th Amendment issues. So here's a legal question for Hurst, and this has to do with whether the Supreme Court correctly held that the jury in a death penalty phase does not have a constitutional obligation to render a verdict And so this is going to go back to some of the key cases of the Supreme Court involving the death penalty, bifurcated trials, and so forth. So this is another case that would fit our criteria. And then again, you're to draft what would be considered a majority opinion if you were to rule on this case. All right. So try not to make this assignment very complicated, because it's not intended to be. It's just to get you to understand the role of the Supreme Court and the Constitution and interpretation of the Constitution, and regarding civil rights and civil liberties. And it's also designed to give you an idea of the type of cases and legal issues that are being presented to the Supreme Court on an annual basis. All right, so I hope that helps. Remember, go to the website, go to the homepage. Up here in the right-hand corner, click on docket. Again, you can type in civil liberties, civil rights, see what shows up. Select the search key, open the case, see if it presents the legal issue or the questions posed. That's a good place to start. And then if you need to do any further internet research, at least you have the names of the parties involved, right? And I think that's it. So again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get a hold of me. Otherwise, good luck on the assignment, and have a blessed week. And I'll be engaging with you later on the internet. Thank you. Bye.